In Adi Parv, when they are talking about the great warriors in that great war of Mahabharat, like Drona, Yudhishthir, Duryodhan, Arjun, and with them names comes of Bhagadat. So the king of Pragjyotish, which is supposed to be an isolated part of the country today, as what our impression is standing with the foremost kings and rulers and fighters. He was heading, he was heading the army of Kauravas. He contributed one Akshuni Sena, four Kauravas. So you can imagine his might. And then, if you see all the descriptions, that he is not fighting with any chota mota fighter, he fights with Arjun, the best warrior of Pandav Sena, and they have one-to-one fight. And there are number of references where the qualities of Bhagadat have been mentioned. He has been called like a second Indra in the field. So, not by any other or lower person. He is compared with the Varun. So, the kings or the figures like Indra and Varun has been compared with the king of Pragjyotish. And that is not the case with other kings in other part of the country. So you can just imagine what was his position. In Sambhav Parva, they mention about that how these Asurs were born, just to draw your attention, that how Viprachitta has born as Jarasangha, Hiranyakashipu as Shishupal, Sangabad as Shalya, Anuhlad as Dhrashtaketu, and the great Asur Vashkala was born as in human form as a Manav, Bhagadat. So that they talk about his past or the previous birth. Bhagadat and his son, Vajradat. It's not only that he was the only king. When he was the king, he fight with Arjun. And when there was a Rajasuya Yagya, Arjun conquers all the kingdoms. And when he reached to the northeastern region, there he faced the Bhagadat. And they have a war for 8 days. And he failed to conquer it. So the first challenge what he gets was from Bhagadat. No other king had capacity to stop him or fight, but Bhagadat stopped him, and not for a day or two, but 8 days. After 8 days, both come on a table, they have a discussion, and then with pleasure, after a discussion with Arjun, he offers tribute, and then Arjun moves to the northern part, winning the mountain kingdoms. So that is again shows that he was the king who has the might to challenge the Chakravarti king or the central king of the country, and not for a day. And he was not defeated. When he saw that there is nothing is going to achieved by this war, both of them come on a table, they have a discussion, and he says, okay, I am ready to pay the tribute to Yudhishthir, and then he moves. Again, when he dies in the war, and his son becomes the king. And when there is Ashwamedh Yagya, again Arjun goes to northeast, and then again he challenges him, and for 3 days they have a war. So it's not that once if we have given, we surrender. And that is the tradition of Northeast. Even today, if you go, they all, whatever tribe they belong, they all are fighters. They don't surrender generally. And that's the reason Mughals could not penetrate in Northeast. They reached up to Guwahati, but Lachit Barphukan drove them away. And that was the only reason which was not ruled by the Mughals. Because the difficult terrain and these warriors and dedicated warriors, they never accepted anybody, any outsider, as their king, or they didn't work under anyone. And that tradition you can see very clearly mentioned in Mahabharata. And it is not that Bhagadat or Vajradat were imaginary. Even in the uh, Nidanpur copper plate of Bhaskar Varman, their names are mentioned. Though historians believe they were mythological figures. There may be dispute about their date because not much work has been done. Bhagadatta was a innumerable king, and with whom was Kinnar, Yavan, Kirat, Chin. So all those tribes which are living in the marshy lands, in the coastal region, and in mountains. So he was controlling that a large area, and whenever he comes with them all. Now, Chin, we can say the Mongoloids people, Kirat, all the tribes and those who are living. The word Yavan is quite interesting because it is also used for foreigners. And how come they are coming, or those people, as even today, when people from Northeast India comes, many feel they are Chinese. And we treat them also sometimes as the foreigners. So probably that feeling was not very new. It was from them because of their features and all. They probably may not be look like other people, and they were considered as something different. So in Sabhaparv, you find references about his might. He had most wonderful gems which he put up on his head, whose power is unlimited, who ruled the west like another Varun. So, being in the coastal region, again, being an underwater archaeologist, I believe that they were also having the maritime trade. And that's perhaps the reason they were connected with other cultures and distant lands. Arjun, as I have mentioned, he defeated Kulind, Anarth, Kalkut, Sumandal, Sakal without any resistance. He captured them, means, and then keep moving. But when he reached to Pragjyotish, he has to face a lot of resistance. And after the fort, he agrees to pay the tributes. Not only that his power, his wealth, his area, but also his skills. There are number of references which tells that how skillful he was. Not only in the fighting on the horse neck, on the elephant neck, which is very natural because we have a lot of elephants in that region, like Indra, but also he was a Maharathi. And that is something which is surprising. Even I find it very surprising because before the British reached to Northeast, there were no roads. There are hardly any plain area. They generally travel by either elephant in jungles or through boats. So a person who is living in such a difficult terrain, and he is a Maharathi. And then in such a great war of Mahabharat, he fights on a Rath also. And he leads the Kaurav Sena. So from where did he got those skills? It's really something which is surprising. And the gifts which he brought, that tells about that how accurate knowledge the author of Mahabharat was having. He brings horses of the best breed and possessing the speed of the wind. He brings best quality horses for Yudhishthir, the gift. And their speed was of the wind, very fast running these horses. He brings swords with handles made of purest ivory. And we know that Northeast region produces ivory because a lot of elephants are there. So the purest ivory is coming from there. And swords, that is very important thing. And he mentioned that he brought these swords for Yudhishthir to give the gift. And they were well adorned with the diamonds and every kind of gems. And then I would like to draw your attention to the war which happened where he is fighting. 1 minute. So he is fighting and he is tying a cloth to keep his eyes open. The description says कि पलकें उसकी नहीं, उसने पलकों को बांध रखा है. And if you go to Northeast, you will find even today, every Assamese tie a gamosha, and that is made of silk. And there is a mention that this cloth is very expensive and it is made of tantu, which is made by insects. See the accuracy of the description. This cloth is expensive, that is the silk. It is made of the thread which is made by insects. And he fight. And he fight with Arjun, and Arjun find that he is so mighty, powerful, he cannot kill him. What he does? He shoot an arrow and cut this cloth. When this cloth falls in front of his eyes, he shoot another arrow, crescent shape, and cut his head. So this is the tactics which he applies to kill Bhagadatta. And you find, and when this cloth falls, it further mentions they lift it because it's a very valuable cloth.